got mail.
Buy some advertising for my podcast there just to really twist them.
Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next hour or so, along with Nick.
Sorry, you caught me mid sip of a coffee. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. And Gali's here.
Hello, everyone.
And Katie's here.
Morning.
Morning. And Spence is here.
Good morning. Watch your timing now, Nick.
I'm sorry.
You know,
It's fine.
can we
I'm
a
little too comfortable with the show.
Can we turn on the AI scrubber that will automatically edit that out?
Yeah,
Our number is
huge coffee cup.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Steering Gear.
One of the things I like about AI is when people will take like a Senate hearing and change the words.
Oh, the questions and what they're asking.
Oh my gosh!
people.
Did you see the one with what they did with Bernie Sanders and the
Yeah.
onesies? You changed it. Do you support this? Do you support this? Actually, $24.95. That's a pretty good deal.
Well, the thing with the AI voice, and I did this probably about a year ago, and I haven't really looked at it since. I need to do it again. Is I was playing around with a voice training model because I had so much content with my spoken word. You feed not even that long. You feed about 20 or 25 minutes worth of audio content into some of these services, and it can do a pretty damn good job of spitting out something that sounds pretty good. And with politicians, I mean, these people have some of them, like Bernie Sanders, have hundreds of hours worth of spoken comment, whether it's on the news or on the floor of the Senate. It's pretty easy to do. And somebody like him has a very unique and distinct speaking pattern in the way he talks, and it does a really good job at replicating it. It's going to put comedians out of business because the guys that, like the guys that do the political impersonations, like are you're not going to be able to compete with that when you can, like Larry David, who used to do a good Bernie Sanders on Saturday Night Live because they look like the same person. They just voice dub him now, I guess.
Yeah,
Will
but
Ferrell with George Bush.
Yeah.
But if you like to go and watch a live show, then those comedians are still going to be there.
That's true.
Katie, can you turn some kind of a light on your face?
I know it's overcast here. Usually it's too bright.
All right.
Put a white page up on your screen.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do.
That's what I always just go to the Google homepage.
So speaking about AI and voice changing and all that, I went this week to see a movie with friends, The Brutalist. Fantastic movie. It is a long movie, but the point is, the actor Brody, he plays a Jew fleeing Europe after the war to Pennsylvania from Hungary. And what they did in the movie is they used AI to embolden his accent, to make it more Hungarian sounding than he was able to pronounce. And the thing is that his acting is phenomenal, and this is like Oscar worthy, but his infliction has been modified by AI. So there's like this Hollywood drama right now behind the scenes of whether to even give him a spot at the run. It's an interesting. This is not the complete AI took over, right? Because they didn't let an AI voice go to take over completely, or an AI character take over completely. But this is AI enhancement, and this is exactly what we talked about. AI is an excellent tool for enhancing your work, right? And he definitely is the actor there. It's not AI taking over, but they don't want. There's active. Um, um, they're actively trying to block his nomination here, and that's interesting. I
That's
don't know where I stand with it either. It's very interesting.
That's exactly why they a big reason why they had the writer strike or the LA strike, whatever Hollywood
Yeah,
strike
part
was
of it.
last
Yeah,
year, the year before. And one of those stories I read that was crazy was there was a radio station in California, and the guy that hosted the radio station for like 30 years or whatever, he just got let go. And because the showrunners or whatever decided to replace him with AI, and they did it by taking his voice and copying it. So they
yeah,
let him go, and he was like, "Oh, that sucks." And then all of a sudden, he started hearing himself on the radio saying things that he's never heard before,
right,
and there he was like, "What the heck? Why? Because you're using my likeness for free, essentially." And they're like, "Well, it says in your contract
right.
we own your voice or whatever." And he was like, no." And
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely gonna court. That's for sure. And in Israel, there's something very similar with an opposite outcome. So one of the famous news anchors, commentator for um, military commentator. He went through a stroke about 4 or 5 years ago, and surprisingly, uh, the TV station allowed him after the stroke to continue broadcasting. But he would come online, and he would talk with the impediment of his body, right, and his speech, and it's quite concerning. But it was like also the most beautiful gesture that can be done, right? Accepting him, even though he has this disability now. And a couple of weeks ago, they came out with him sitting at the panel, and speech is perfect, right? And then they explained that what the company did, what the broadcaster did, is they hired this company who took sampling out of him, and basically using AI, now he can deliver the commentary uh, as if he's not invalid, right? As if he doesn't have that disability anymore. And I'm looking at it, and it's like, okay, I see the gesture. That is a nice gesture, but what does this mean? Because it probably means there's an actor behind that. That's not him speaking. He might be writing the content and giving it to an actor who plays that, and then the AI does the overdub and presents the image, and he looks fine. But that's not him anymore, right? It's
So,
just a shell,
so
basically.
it's I don't know that I would call it lip sync, but so when they do the show,
So
when he
with deep fake, the way to do it, right, is you either do it offline completely, um, you you uh, you speak into the microphone, and the AI creates the image and the audio based on what you're saying. And that wouldn't be that different than typing, but when you talk, you can add some emotion, right? Going high, going low, etc. But it'll sound and act exactly like the original actor.
ah,
Um, what I think the AI cannot do is take away the stutter, or it cannot change the rate, or it can do it in the delay. Like I'll speak into the microphone, and after 5 seconds, it'll show um, it'll show me speaking as somebody
yeah,
else.
like with a
Okay,
delay, a long delay.
right.
Yeah.
That's option number one. But there's also live deepfake, where as long as you you're close in mimicry to whoever you're portraying, the AI will take care of the visual and the voice, and it'll be like impersonation, right? But you still need somebody to act as close to it, so the AI could at least it'll change the nuances that count, but you still need to be somebody articulating it in a similar manner, right?
Mhm.
So
And
that's my
that is obviously yeah, go
so
ahead.
is this in this segment that you're talking about, and maybe you said it and I missed it. Is this a live segment that's going on, or is this a pre-recorded, or is there no way to tell?
That specific one was pre-recorded,
Okay.
and it was just an introduction. But it was, but to me, understanding how the technology works, it felt really, really off. uh the crowd reaction, online and stuff was, oh, how beautiful, that this is great news, blah 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 blah. But basically it means exactly what Katie described, is okay, this guy, we don't need him anymore. We can use his image forever now. It doesn't even matter if he's sick, if he's at home, if he'll never join the show. It doesn't even matter if he ever sent words about this, right? Theoretically, he can be this news anchor for the rest of
The
of the
century.
existence of the broadcaster, right? Uh, yeah,
So this is where it gets really
it was a Black Mirror moment. Let's put it that way, right? It wasn't like
Mm.
just good vibes.
so this is where it gets really interesting. And when you talk about, and I'm sure Spence, you're familiar with Charles Krauthammer. He's dead now.
Oh, yeah.
But he was a completely paraplegic, and he was a conservative commentator on Fox for a very long time. And so this stuff works, but once the guy is out of it, like once this guy dies, right? And he's no longer able to write the scripts. Yes, you can clone his voice, but once you lose his insight and his analysis, then you just got a voice that people are familiar with, but then the insight is gone. I mean, the reason that commentators are who they are is because of their insight. I mean, like, yeah, I say this, I say this in full disclosure with what I'm doing. I'm not anything unique with any of my show when it was on the radio. It's just my personality and the way that I talk about things is the uniqueness of it. What I'm covering is not inherently unique, but it's the way that I do it. And you could clone my voice, but God, if you were going to write the script, you're probably not going to be able to replicate me. Even though it will sound like me, it won't be me. And so
I
that's where this
I
gets really
agree.
interesting.
I agree, but what happens if you're already an established image, like you said, for 20 years on the air, known to millions of people, right? And now, even if it's just for a short time, right? Now your image is used in a very cynical manner. Or maybe, you know what? In a very forget cynical, in a very genuine, heartfelt, homage way, right? But basically it's not it's not you behind that image and voice anymore, right? So you st- that persona, that avatar still has the influence without being you, even if it's for a short time. And that's the key, right? I think that's the danger, that's the problem, that's the ethics, that's where ethics, right, fall into it.
I think of, like, in the US, somebody like Rush Limbaugh, who of course was incredibly popular. He passed away a couple of years ago. And there are still it pretty often it happens where I say to myself, and this could easily be done. Rush Limbaugh's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of hours worth of his voice that's archived. And I often say to myself, what would Rush say about X, Y, or Z? And even though you could easily clone his voice, you wouldn't be able to clone what he would say. And that's what makes it so interesting is, like, Yes, I could write up a script probably and make it sound just like him, but I wouldn't have the wit or the funny nature of the way that he would cover things. And so I feel like you get away with that for a short period of time, like you were mentioning. And then once there are new things that come to light that nobody else has the insight on except for this guy or gal that's, you know, either dead or fired or whatever, is no longer providing that analysis, it probably falls off pretty quickly.
And you
But
can't mimic the spontaneity of it,
Exactly.
because that's
Yeah.
the point. I mean, he could have written copy, but he never read it.
Yeah.
You could tell when he read something, but
Yeah.
most of the time it was just free form. He was just going
yeah,
at it.
but you want to tell me that this doesn't mean that we'll see actors
Oh
that
no,
we
this
will.
is
we'll see
their
it. Absolutely, we're going to see it. Well,
they will improv and they will be just the perfect copy.
an actor theoretically doesn't have a personality because all we see is them acting. So that's why they say that actors off stage are still actors, because that's the way they do. They pretend. So it's just their on-screen brand. Their off-screen brand usually gets trashed every time they try to say anything. Because they say, what the hell is wrong with you?
But that's an interesting, we're talking about in this case news or media where the scriptingness of it is far less. But when you translate this into either television or movies, very rarely is the actor or actors writing the script or having, if it's the lead actor, if it's, like Katie mentioned before, if it's Will Ferrell, he's the star in a movie, he's probably got a little bit of creative oversight because of the level that who he is. But for any of the secondary actors in that movie, they are literally just reading a script. I mean, they are doing nothing more than reading what somebody else has prepared for them. That seems to be the easier transition of this compared to news or analysis or opinion, where like you mentioned, Spence, the spontaneity is there. And like Katie was mentioning, that was the whole reason for that I don't remember the name of the group,
The strike, the writer's
that
strike,
happened.
yeah.
The writer guild
WGA.
strike. WGA, yeah. That happened back a couple of years ago.
It's interesting. You think about, you mentioned the Oscars earlier and about not wanting to nominate Adrian Brody because of the manipulation of his voice. But you think about it. What if you're up for best soundtrack or best song for a movie? You know that those artists who are singing, they go through a mixer. They are not just singing into the microphone.
Exactly.
They're manipulated. And yet they can win an award or a Grammy. They can win an award. And remember the first time, this is a while ago, but the first big auto-tune song, does anybody know which one it was?
Was it Daft Punk?
No, it was
No.
Cher. It was Cher.
Oh.
And it was the
love
first,
after love, something love after love, yeah.
something about something for love or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was the first big hit that had an auto-tune in it. And it was blatant. It wasn't just just to correct something. It was done intentionally.
Yeah.
But anybody read this week about there's some kind of a copyright controversy going on now over music or replay, and how the artists want more royalties from it. They want to have individual, instead of going through like ASCAP and BMI enables you to play a body of songs. That now they're trying to do apparently individual licensing of an artist.
You know what? If the artists want to go down that pathway, they will find their music not played on the radio at all anymore, because the reason ASCAP and BMI exist is to make it a easy avenue for which is what we're really talking about, radio stations, for them to be able to pay to single company, or in this case two or maybe three companies total, for music licensing. When you break this out, if you do this streaming service equivalent to what the US consumer has to deal with, these songs just won't be played, because it's, first of all, these stations don't have anybody working at them anymore, and nobody's going to go through the process of signing up for 28 different music licensing services to play a song. It's just not
This
practical.
could directly affect my daughter's livelihood because she's a choreographer and uses music, and she works for a studio that has ASCAP BMI licenses, so
Sure.
she can do whatever she wants. And if this changes, it's going to change their whole bit. They won't be able to pay. But this is, I mean, it's the radio station. You just decide not to play the song, but
Yeah.
here they have to have the music. It's their business, and she edits all the time. She sets stuff up for. She's a tap choreographer, and it would, I don't know what their thoughts are, and I know they know about it, but I'm sure they're going to say this. We can't do this. This is going to destroy their business.
They'll start writing their own music with AI.
But it's
That's
the
probably what will
problem is
happen.
that it's pop music, it's current music that makes it so popular to the parents when they watch their kids dance.
I understand
So
that, but
yeah,
they'll
no,
make
I
it work
realize.
in a different
Yeah.
way, right? That's I think that will be the key. Or or alternatively, they'll just hire a local band to play the music live for them, right? And then it works completely differently, right?
It does work for the tap side. That does work. In fact, when they
Yeah,
have their recitals, they do have a jazz band there
right.
for some of the songs because they're interactive. Like
Yeah.
they'll do
Hey,
an echo back and forth between the percussion and the tap dancer. So you see that. Yeah.
so we go full circle and AI brings back live music. That's great.
That's it.
Yeah, but the same thing sort of like existed in the beginning of the you have to pay sales tax on Amazon. Then everybody or on eBay, and every seller uh, had to file with the state where the guy is from, the buyer is from, and the same thing on Amazon. They would have to file, but now I think Amazon is just doing it, and you're paying Amazon, and they can do the rest. They charge for it. They charge a lot for it, but it's the same kind of thing that if you have to go and pay individual, like you said, to for each song, in an individual agency, so to speak, that collects just for that, and then for this one you have to do there, and yeah, it's hey, I don't even want to deal with this. Let's just not play it. And I agree that that will kill recordings.
But then
But
again, what is the like is the number of listeners on FM radio of music, is it diminishing? And I'm guessing the answer is yes anyway.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's for depending on the market that you're in, it is diminishing, but it is still for the stations, for many of the stations, it's still a very productive cash cow. And for artists, and this is not as relevant for um more established, people, but for newer artists or younger artists, getting radio airtime is still a huge deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Exposure. Yeah.
that's where, that's where you could see a situation where radios, if depending on how many artists go along with this or how many music groups go along with this, you could you could end up seeing a situation where you have a lot more unknown artists that start popping out of nowhere because it's the only stuff that the stations can play. So that it could end up having a net positive effect
Exactly.
for indie artists.
Yeah.
Potentially, who knows?
Local artists maybe will be featured much more. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, let's switch here.
Wait, I wanna
Oh, go ahead.
pivot because I ran across something really cool this week that I was like, oh, I'll talk about it on the show. So, um, metadata. So my understanding of metadata is that it's data information in something, and I'm being general here, that gives you more information about the thing. So how it was brought up is I didn't realize metadata quote unquote metadata could also be applied to physical things. And so what happened is this is back to Pokemon cards. One of the original workers or creators of Pokemon, the card game, decided to sell his beta alpha collection of Pokemon cards. These are like where they where it wasn't a final art, it was all like them trying to figure out the game. So it's like super valuable, and he sent off his beta cards to get graded and tested for authenticity. And then they came back from the grading company saying, yes, these are legit. This is one of the employees that one of the original five employees or something like that, and all came back great. And then the cards went on auction and they sold for $1 billion. Well, one of the people um, smelled something fishy about the cards and wanted to test for their authenticity, and he found out that the cards were actually printed in 2024, because if you take the card, the piece of paper, and you scan it, you can't see it with the naked eye, but if you change the color settings on your computer or whatever, you'll see dots that show up on the card that the printer leaves behind, and those dots correspond to the printer, what printer
Yep.
printed it, what year it was printed, what month, and what day.
That's been out there. Laser printers and dot matrix printers have been doing that for years.
Yeah, I had no idea this was a thing. It makes sense now that but I read a whole article about the guy. So he won the auction, and he found out that all of the cards that he got were all fake and they were all printed in 2024. And so
Jeez.
now the whole industry has like exploded, because if he can do it and he's just a dude that, took it, scanned his card and did whatever, why didn't the
Exactly.
company that authenticated the cards, why didn't they do it?
Was this
And
PSA? Do you know what
no,
grading
it
company it
was
was?
it started with a C. It wasn't PSA. PSA wouldn't touch it. Apparently, they were
So,
like,
so the
uh,
grading company that did the grade must have been in on the scam. That's what my mind immediately
Very
goes to,
possible. Yep.
is that they were in on it, because any legitimate grading company like PSA would do exactly what you're describing. Like, and I mean, Kate, if you ran a piece of paper through your printer right now, and then that paper was used to like murder somebody, a piece of paper, they'd be able to trace it back to your printer, which is
yeah,
crazy. So
I
like, it's not a very hard thing to do. So this company must have been in on the sham.
Yeah, I had no idea. And what was crazy is this person did a breakdown. It was like a cold case murder breakdown that you see where like people like break things down. They did different scans of the same card and like showed different color levels or whatever, and then the dots. So he pointed out the grid, and then he superimposed the grid with the dots over the legend or the key to tell you the information. And it like blew my mind. Like I had no idea this was a thing. So I was like, oh, metadata, tech stuff. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this on the show. Anyway, so that's the biggest drama that's happening in the hobby world right now.
So is this guy suing the grading company?
I don't have no idea what he's doing. Like this literally his information was like 3 or 4 days ago that he came out with it. At least that he posted on the Pokemon forums, like he did like a full breakdown. I'm guessing like considering the amount of money all these things cost and all this like high level scam is working, that this, like, I don't know if the FBI gets involved or somebody gets involved, somebody big gets involved to go after this, because if it's just
Oh,
if
it was
they
CGC. That's a major grading company
yeah,
that
there you
did
go,
this.
CGC, yeah.
This could
So
put them this could put them out of business.
yeah, I'm
I mean,
pretty sure.
this is really bad.
Yeah, so I think a lot of going forward, I think a lot of the stuff's gonna be hush hush, because I wouldn't be surprised if they get like a federal investigation of like if they were in on it, how what other things have they been scamming over the years?
Yeah, it's either complete gross negligence, or they were part of the take.
No, they'll
Well, and
come
actually,
out
here's the
and
thing,
they'll say it wasn't me.
it doesn't even have to be. So the way that this grading stuff works is these companies are paid on the value of the grade. So there's a huge incentive for these companies to give you a good grade on a card that is worth a lot, because
Their commission is
there's
higher.
well, it's not even the commission. Like there's a base price to get a card graded, and then based on the value of that card is what you end up paying for total, with your final bill. So there is a financial incentive for them to not
Cheat.
in this case, if these cards were completely fake, then that's one thing. But just like baseball cards, you have a grade from 1 to 10, like you would have with baseball or football cards. That's been going on for, you know, 50 years. That's not anything new. But with these game cards, whether it's Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or whatever, to give a higher score means that those grading companies generate significantly more revenue in the process. Um, it's all kind of it's all kind of nepotism when you really break it down, because it's a kind of a fake system that these companies have come up with to generate all of this huge third party marketplace that now exists for these valuable cards. It's
Mm.
kind of the whole thing from start to finish is kind of shady if you think about it.
Yeah,
There's like
so
two companies that do it, CGC and PSA. There's two companies that do it, and then that's the inherent value. It's
yeah,
it's it's a little screwy.
I wonder if PSA kind of knew something was up because I think the guy went to PSA first to get them graded and they didn't want to touch it.
I'm sure they didn't. Yeah, too not probably not worth it.
Anyways,
Huh.
back to
Ah.
regular scheduled program. I just thought I'm in this new hobby and I'm learning all these cool, crazy things. And man, people are good. Like talk about scammers. Like the level of technology is insane.
Yeah. All right. So let's switch. DeepSeek. Go.
I don't know what that is.
Scam from
Very.
start to finish.
How can you
Yeah.
not know, Katie? It
Oh.
is the OpenAI breaker. It's the it broke the stock exchange. Come on.
Sorry,
China.
my world has all been Pokemon cards this past week. I have been hyper focused on childhood nostalgia and metadata from printers.
And printer metadata. Yeah, Katie's
Yeah.
Katie's been working real hard this week.
Yeah.
Did you speak on it about it in your show? Like this?
Did I?
Did you mention
No.
it at all?
I didn't have a chance this week with the plane crash and some of the other like big news stuff that happened this week, and some of the Senate confirmations and stuff that ended up being a really screw week for news. So Gal, the question for you is
Let's
DeepSeek,
yeah,
DeepSeek
run through it.
is a chat GPT alternative killer, quote unquote, that popped up this week out of China. Don't know what group is responsible for it, but apparently they built an equivalent to OpenAI for just a couple of $1 million compared to, I think, like $6 million to the number that keeps being floated around,
But so
compared
and-
to the
and
hundreds of billions of dollars that
that
OpenAI and some of these other services are, quote unquote, investing.
that's what
Right.
they claim.
And that's the question.
Yeah.
Is it bullshit
Well,
or not?
No, it's not bullshit, but it's
How do
also
we know?
so it's first of all, the project is a major difference than OpenAI is the project is open source, right? And the results, the big splash were not only the announcement and the unveiling, but was also the deep analysis from other sources about what this model can do. It's a new model that wasn't available earlier, and now this model, in terms of availability, can give a run for the money compared to what ChatGPT was able to do, at least with 3.5 or 4, um, which is impressive, very impressive. It is not the same. It does not have the same capabilities. It is not overall encompassing compared to O1, which is the newest O1, right? I think I got the name right for OpenAI.
Mhm.
But why isn't it bullshit, right? Why isn't it how how is it possible that a company for much less resources can do that? And one of the answers, one of the possible answers, not definitive for any way, but one of the possible answers is it was able to use the existing generation of AI technology in the aid of building it. So, yes, it was able to do it with much less resources at this point, but one of those resources might be the large language models that were developed before it, um, for very large investments. It only shows that the rate, if you're looking for a prediction out of it, right? It just means that the rate of change is just being exponentially accelerated, and we're going to see breakthroughs come up again and again and again in very short terms, and every time the iteration will be easier and cheaper and more effective, right? Because we're having this technology available now and we can use it.
I
Well,
have a conspiracy theory,
Okay.
and I call it a conspiracy theory. I suspect, based on what we saw with what we saw this week, I think there is a strong possibility that the AI companies in the US, specifically OpenAI, have been purposefully, neutering's not the right word to use, but they have purposefully slowed down innovation because there's so much money in the investor space to be made. They are walking this out as long as humanly, which is not anything new, but that they are walking out, they are lengthening the time for innovation significantly because of what they can generate in that industry right now, because it is such a hot investor market, and they can go to major capital firms and get hundreds of millions of dollars. And if they slow roll some of their innovation, they can continue to do that. They can do that for a longer period of time, because that to me is what really jumped out with this being done at the price that it was and as quickly as it was, is that this is being purposefully slowed down for which, again, there's nothing wrong with, for a revenue generation in the US. That's my conspiracy theory on this.
Well, I mean, there's nothing conspiratorial about it. It's more you're right that they are making their decisions based on generating revenue and not about
Innovation.
we can better society with it, right? There's nothing altruistic about developing AI.
Sure.
So um, the interesting part of what came out of China this week was it is open source. Like, the model is completely available. Uh, the research behind it is completely available, and that is a very bold move. That is the sort of move, right, that we used to see from the U.S. academics back in the late '90s, right? That's when the internet was this brave new world of openness and sharing, and suddenly this is coming from China, uh, and I think it's a real punch in the gut for the American capitalist economy, right? Sort of, uh, but there's still some money to be made out of it, and you're taking it out of us, and I think that's part of also the reason that it has been unveiled this way. Now, again, it is not an OpenAI killer. OpenAI is still at the lead. Um, it is more expensive to run, but I am guessing that the improvements that we've seen with DeepSeek, it's going to affect about how OpenAI is continuing to evolve, and maybe OpenAI itself uh, will just make things more available because, yeah, the race is on. So
Well, one,
we'll
one of
see.
the benefits of the DeepSeek that they're touting, but I don't know if it's been tested yet, is that they don't have the intensity of processing to do the
Right.
same thing. Their
Right.
benchmarking is like incredible. for what-
Right. So they can achieve a similar or improved compared on much cheaper hardware,
yes.
much less energy, right, which is very critical. That's why the marketplace got like hit
So
very
excited.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nick, how much did Nvidia lose in valuation?
I mean, it was billions of dollars.
600 and some
Yeah.
billion.
Yeah, earlier
Yeah.
this week, it completely. Well, I say it tanked. I mean, they're still running like 100 times projections, but
Right.
it if you had bought Nvidia 2 weeks ago and invested a large sum of money, you lost your
You're
ass
crying. Yeah.
handedly. Yeah, you're jumping
Yeah.
off the top of a building.
But,
So it was a major shock.
Well, the articles that I was reading toward the end of the week were all talking about, first of all, that declaration that they only did it for a few $1,000,000 is not true. That
That's
they,
also the other question.
that
Yeah.
they actually, if you look at Nvidia's stuff, they sold them hundreds of thousands of processors, I mean GPUs, even after Biden said not to sell them anymore. They
Well, they're
spent
talking about processors that are like 3 or 4 generations
no, they're
back.
talking about the 800, not the 100, the 805 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. These are newer. But even if you're talking about, and they didn't just sell it to them, they've been selling them all along, and they're not taking they said that the Chinese are not taking this into consideration when they say how much it cost them. And that's a big thing. And then they were talking to other analysts who said, yep, they're not telling us the whole truth here. It was not just the 60 some million or whatever they said. It was a lot more than that. And
And
it'll come out. I mean, sooner or
There've
later
been
it'll come out. But that's
rumblings from OpenAI saying that they're concerned that DeepSeek copied their work.
well, I mean, yeah, now
That
everybody can say
I mean, if
anything.
I'm looking,
No, no.
that hit the 2 days ago. It said the
Yeah.
DeepSeek train on a model that they
Yeah.
didn't have permission to use.
This is actually beautiful because this is exactly what OpenAI did, right, with the rest of the stuff on the internet. So this is beautiful.
It's
because
ironic.
This actually goes and gets some meat. This is perfect for everybody. Like this is a positive net sum, right?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
my take on this is, yes, it was a punch to the U.S. Any way you look at it, and it's good that it happened because whenever something like this happened, this is when companies in the U.S. are getting up and say, "Okay, now we have to beat that," and that gives them like a push that
Well, I think
otherwise doesn't happen.
Well, I think that Gal kind of mentioned that in regards to if OpenAI has been purposefully kind of slowing
Yeah.
down progression.
Not just OpenAI.
Now they've got to take the governor off, the throttle
Yeah.
control, and they've got to be like, oh, okay, we've actually been capable of doing a lot of this stuff, but we were
and
generating billions of dollars a year in investment
and
doing just what we're doing. So we'll speed back up now.
And apparently, in a couple of the articles, it was saying that there were a lot of restrictions on AI companies in the US by the Biden administration not to innovate so much and, oh, you can't do this and you can't do that and with China, hey, do whatever you want. So it seems like they were saying that Trump now said he wants to take all the restrictions off of the US AI developers, companies, and say, go for it.
What would
I-
be the restrictions that were in place?
I have, they were not, let's put it this way. They
That
may
part
have been
sounds
talking about,
conspiratorial.
they may
I-
have
I-
been
I-
talking about it. I did not get that deep into it. Anybody who's interested in that will need to go and read. But it was something, there were a lot of reasons that made sense, and you would think about it and say, okay, it's fine. If that's the case, then taking off the restrictions should open it up. Let's see. Nobody has a crystal ball. Let's put it this way, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. All
According
right.
to this, it says in the US, there are currently no comprehensive federal laws specifically regulating AI, but various state laws and industry guidelines are emerging. They include requirements to avoid algorithmic discrimination, ensure transparency in AI systems, particularly in high-risk applications like
I mean,
healthcare and
yeah,
finance.
Spence, we cannot get into it really. If we want to dig into it, it's going to take hours to
Oh,
talk
no,
about
I
it.
just wanted to say, because
Yeah,
we
yeah,
had no idea what the restrictions were. And
yeah,
this is saying that there are no federal laws restricting it.
yeah. All right.
So,
We'll wait and see. Anyway, TikTok.
Is it back yet?
They say it's not. Why is
I
it
don't
not
know.
available? They said
Well, because it's federally illegal. I mean, this 90-day extension is illegal.
it says that that they gained nearly 90% of its user traffic, according to Cloudflare Radar. DNS traffic for TikTok related domains has continued to recover since service restoration, since Trump took office and extended it. It is currently about 10% lower than pre-shutdown level, which is not a big deal.
Because anybody with the app, right? The app was not removed from phones. It was just removed from the App Store.
The App Store,
So
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
you can't download it.
yeah. So if
That's
you're
why those
looking for TikTok, you say this is on the Android Play Store. Looking for TikTok, downloading this app are paused due to current U.S. legal requirements.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a bit harder. I'm guessing to get the APK is probably possible.
you can get
I
around
wonder
it. Remember,
what's
we
that?
talked about it last weekend. You just need to buy a $10,000 phone that
Yeah.
already has it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad you brought up the $10,000 phone. So I actually was looking at this yesterday, and there are phones that, yes, are listed for $10,000 on eBay. But if you actually go through this is the eBay listing. I just searched iPhone with TikTok.
Jeez.
They're not selling for much.
No.
I mean, they're selling for, this is an iPhone 16 selling for $650. That phone probably sells for 400, 500 anyway.
Yeah.
These are old. I mean, you could see iPhone 13 Pro. They wanted to do a buy it now for $2,500, but it's sold for 300. So I mean, people are still making some money, but nobody is buying these phones for 10 grand. I mean, this buy now is 1050. It's sold for $255. So it's interesting that people are putting their phones up for this. But
Now
nobody's paying that but these are all sales that are happening that happened today. These all say sold February 2nd.
Now I know with iPhone you cannot install it if it didn't come from the App Store, right? They don't
Correct.
have a install but on Android you can.
Mhm.
Why? I mean, again, and I don't pretend to know this. When you download an app and install it, do you have the app still on your phone somewhere that you can give it to somebody else?
No.
Yes and no. It depends. It really
I mean,
depends
do
on
you
the.
think that anywhere in the world there is somebody who's got the app that he can
Oh
put
yeah,
it
for sure.
out
No,
and let people
not a
download
problem.
it? Yeah, right?
No, apkmirror.com. Like it. These sites have been existing for years. It's not anything new.
And do they have a bad reputation of having
Nope. No.
ra-
No.
viruses, malware?
They're just not known for most people because most people do not deal with looking for alternative. But these sites have been existing for years. They've been mirroring the Play Store for years, and um, if you know about them, you'll get them. There's enough crowd to keep these sites alive. Most of them are funded by ads. There's nothing sinister about them.
Okay.
Uh, Google hates them, right? Because they're infringing on their monopoly or their control. I wouldn't say monopoly. They do not have a monopoly, right?
Sound like
But
Epic over there, Golf,
yeah.
talking about our friends at Google.
Oh yeah, Epic. I mean, Epic is like, if we didn't talk about if you guys didn't talk about Epic last week, like Epic is now finally it has its own app store on Android,
Yeah.
and it has its own app store on iOS outside of the US. Okay, this is ground shaking news in the world of iOS, because all of the legal proceedings in Europe eventually created a functional alternative iOS app store, and one that has, you asked about reputation, one that has uh, very good reputation and is giving free games to gamers. So you're going to have a generation of people in Europe that are going to expect alternative app stores on the iPhone. This is phenomenal, right? This is definitely breaking the monopoly. The first time that this has happened, and so yeah, Steve Jobs is turning in his grave.
Yeah. Going back to DeepSeek, Taiwan Taiwan Digital Ministry said Friday that government departments should not use the Chinese startup DeepSeek artificial intelligence because it represents security. The same came from Italy. They said
Okay,
no, huh?
uh, uh, this is not this is about going to deepseek.com and using the AI there. Okay, but remember, we're talking about an open source implementation.
Yeah, and actually Microsoft said that they're going to run it on one of their servers.
Yeah, that's fine. You can run it
Yeah,
anywhere.
for
We've already seen AI providers, different AI providers, which provide like a gateway using other models, running their own
running it.
copy of
Yeah,
it on their site, and it's easy. You can look, anybody can run it. The problem is that the large model, the one that is creating waves, it needs around 600 gigabytes of RAM to run. Okay, so just downloading to your local PC is probably not going to be
no,
do anything,
right.
because yeah, I tried it. I literally tried it. Want to see the how it will act. But there are like lesser models which are closer to the old school models of your, where you can run with 16 gigabytes or maybe 30 gigabytes of RAM. Um, Still, without a GPU having that amount of RAM, it's still slow, right? So running it locally is problematic. So you're going to run it in the cloud anyway in some sort of service, but you can definitely download the entire model and run it in a cloud that you own and pay for it, and you are not sharing your information with China or anybody, right? So and that's a breakthrough. You cannot do that with OpenAI's ChatGPT. Okay, uh, so that will be an interesting evolution to see now how many of these services we're going to see.
Yeah,
DeepSeek was put out in order to create a disruption. They're definitely not there to generate income like OpenAI.
right.
So I wonder what is the next model we're going to see, and what is the next model.
All right. A couple of warnings here from Ars Technica. They said that Apple designed chips powering Macs, iPhones, and iPads contain two newly discovered vulnerabilities that leak credit card information, locations, and other sensitive data from the Chrome and Safari browsers as they visit sites such as iCloud Calendar, Google Maps, and Proton Mail. And they
Mm.
affecting the CPUs in later generations of Apple A and M series chipsets. Open them to side channel attacks. And if you have one of those, just go and read about vulnerabilities of these and be prepared for something, just
Mhm.
practice safe computing. Um, Interesting thing about Linux, Facebook has banned posts mentioning Linux related topics.
What?
With the
Wait,
Why?
who
pop
did this?
Facebook,
Facebook.
it says with the popular Linux news and discussion sites DistroWatch at the center of the controversy, a post on the site claims Facebook's internal policymakers decided that Linux is malware and labeled groups associated with Linux as being cybersecurity threats. We tried to post some blurb about distrowatch.com on Facebook and can confirm that it was barred with a message citing community standards. DistroWatch says that the Facebook ban took effect on January 19th. Moreover, some have told DistroWatch that their Facebook accounts have been locked or limited after sharing posts mentioning Linux topics. I would like to think that this is a mistake somewhere. It's a glitch in the system, something. I can't believe that Facebook will intentionally say, well, anybody who's talking about Linux, no, don't don't erase it, take it out. And
That's so crazy to
I
me.
guess you guys are looking it up, right?
And I'll look it up, but I,
I
I
mean,
have no like.
it's
It
in
says, I mean, the headline says that over PC Magazine says Facebook accidentally blocks users
okay.
from
So
posting about
accidentally,
Linux.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'd like
It
to
says,
think,
yeah, it says accidentally.
yeah, okay. Um, hey Nick, something. Where was
hey,
it?
I'm not.
Wait. Oh shoot! I said no. I need to talk about this with Nick.
Facebook
Um,
admits that the Linux topic crackdown was in error and has been fixed.
okay,
That's
good,
yeah,
good. I mean,
that's from 3 days ago, January 30th.
They settle with each Linux user and pay them.
I don't know. That's what
Hmm.
I'm looking
They
for.
seem to
Like,
be pouring money out
what
now
was
to
the
try to
source?
avoid prosecution.
oh Nick, here.
Yo,
A bipartisan group of legislators has reintroduced the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act of
I saw that.
2025.
Yeah, so it's good news. And on the other side of it, the FCC, the new FCC chair, Brandon Carr, is going after potentially is opening investigation into NPR and PBS for um, because they're nonprofits. They are limited in how they can generate sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
Used to, on a commercial, it's on a regular radio station. It's called advertising. They call it underwriting or corporate sponsors. They changed the name of it, and the FCC chair believes that there could be some tomfoolery going on there.
A little bit
Interesting.
of money laundering.
Not money laundering, but they're only allowed to take money in very specific ways. They are very limited because they are non-commercial entities in how they can generate revenue. And there are some questions that if they're doing it outside of that, that they should lose that status and operate as every other commercial radio station does, which is selling advertising and generating income that way. So we'll see how that plays out.
That and the fact that they're not non-biased.
Well, they're not
Yeah,
nonpartisan, and they're
yeah.
receiving hundreds of millions of dollars worth of taxpayer money every year.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what that um,
what will turn up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Will they now have a new show called the Home Shopping Channel?
I
Um,
saw they're actually leaving Florida.
Leaving? Oh yeah, the
HSN has been in St. Petersburg, but I guess the company that owns QVC owns HSN, which I didn't realize, and they're consolidating into their facilities in Pennsylvania. So I can't believe those networks still exist, to be perfectly honest with you. But they do.
you can find them on Roku Live. They're out there.
Well,
There's a couple.
Well,
of
they're
them.
over the air in almost every
Yeah,
market
yeah.
too. They're a sub channel of something in the market over the air.
And another warning to users, a new phishing scam targeting mobile devices was observed using a never before seen obfuscation method to hide links to spoofed United States Postal Service pages inside PDF files. Mobile security company Zimperium reported that the attacker sent the malicious PDF via SMS text message under the guise of providing instructions to retrieve a USPS package that failed to deliver. The phishing websites first display a form for the victim, provide their mailing address, email address, and telephone number, and then asks for credit card information to pay a 30 cents service fee for redelivering. They identified more than 20 versions of the malicious PDF files and 630 phishing pages associated with the scam. The phishing pages were also found to support 50 languages, suggestion, international targeting, and possible use of a phishing kit. I don't know that the post office is going to let you know that, hey, we tried, it didn't go. I mean, they leave something at the door, a paper. I never got a notice, and there were a few times when they couldn't deliver, and there was something hanging on the doorknob. So be careful again. Be very careful, especially with PDFs. Anytime you get an email with a PD with an attachment in it, that you say, well, why are they sending an attachment? What for? I mean, an email can simply say, hey, we tried to deliver, we couldn't deliver, you can come pick it up. That can be just an email. It doesn't need to be a PDF attachment. PDF attachments have caused so much trouble for a lot of companies that
Forget PDF attachments.
what?
Any email
Yeah,
or SMS,
right.
any email or SMS, right? That you get for the first time, or like from a contact that you've never received
Right.
before, and has a link. It doesn't matter. You do not click that link.
You don't click. Delete
You
it.
do not click. Do not click that link.
Yep. Delete the
Whatever
message.
you do not click that
if
link.
it's
I'm serious.
I'm
Do
clicking the
not.
link. I'm
Don't
doing
click
it.
that link.
the
Resist the urge.
The saying is delete it. If it's important and they really want you, they'll send it to you again. Whoever.
So hold on a second.
And you're not going to go ahead.
Well, I got this email at 12:56 this morning,
Yeah.
and I'd like to ask you guys if it's legitimate. The subject: EFT transfer completed, confirmation,
Right.
and next step inside.
Absolutely real. Nick, take
And
the
then
money.
attached, there's nothing in the body of the
Yeah,
email
that's-
except for a confirmation -nick.zip.
Yeah.
Seems pretty legitimate to me.
No.
And it came from, I don't even know what the full email address is.
Yeah, I mean, no, absolutely, absolute malware, absolute
I'm almost
bad stuff.
one of the reasons I run a Windows VM on another computer is every once in a while I'll try opening these things and just seeing what's in there because I'm curious what's in the zip. Is it an exe? Is it an exe that they have put a .pdf in the actual name of the file?
Yeah, well,
I'm
if you
curious what's in there, but I'm not. I
right,
don't care that.
but in general, our audience Ignore it.
Oh, never. Yeah, never open them.
Send them to Nick.
No.
Thanks. I'm gonna get my Gmail account's gonna get banned because they're gonna be like, you are harboring a whole bunch of malware on your Gmail.
Too many
Yeah.
malwares.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done. Anybody
Actually-
has something else?
Too many malwares, Nick. It sounds like a good podcast title.
Yeah, I've got plenty of spare time. Let's spin up another podcast.
Yeah, John is saying you have to open it in order to receive the money.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure that. Well, and because there's nothing in the body of the email, that's what you would do,
Right.
because
Yeah.
there's nothing to read. It's smart.
Yeah. You hope that most people are educated enough to know this.
They're not.
But we have to say it again and again and again.
Do not click that link.
I mean, but let's be honest. I mean, you still have these scams where people are calling you
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and running multi-$1,000 scams on individuals every day.
Yep.
So if they're falling for those,
Of
I
course,
mean,
of
it seems like it'd be
course.
so much easier to fall for the email or text message scam.
Yeah, because
We're-
they can send millions of them.
Nick, also remember, everybody here, and I think I'm even including Katie, even though she claims she's not that experienced. We're all talking from experience here. We've all seen a bad email create havoc, right?
Yep.
Whether on our system or somebody else's. So we're talking out of experience. Most people, they've never even thought of the possibility, right? So, yeah, don't click that link. Like,
Can I
whatever
say
you do.
something? It made me laugh. So one of the companies I worked for was a big tech company, and I'm a millennial, and what millennials do best is ignore things. They don't like if I get a phone call and I don't know who it is, I just ignore it. If I get a text message, I don't know who it is, I just ignore it or delete it. If I get an email and I don't know who it is, I just ignore it. Like I won't even open it. Well, apparently that got me in trouble because uh the company was doing like a phishing training thing, and they were sending out phishing emails to test their employees, and I figured I'd score 100 because unless it's a coworker, I don't answer or open it. Well, apparently I was supposed to report all phishing emails, but I get like hundreds of emails that are spam or whatever. I'm not going to spend my time to report each one. And so then I get an email that says, "Oh, you failed the phishing training whatever." And I was like, "Failed? I didn't click on anything. Like I'm a pro not clicker." and and I was like, "Oh, it's because you didn't report this email as a phishing scam." And I was like, "Oh my god, guys, please."
I had a I had a former colleague that the company would do those same phishing phishing
Test.
scams,
Yeah.
tests. And after 3 times in a row she failed it, they fired her. I mean, it was termination because of the
Yeah, but
risk.
she clicked and she
clicked.
provided her credentials, right?
Yes,
So,
and so after
Yep.
3
she
times
didn't
of
learn
this,
from mistakes.
after 3 times they fired
Oh
her.
my gosh.
Which it
No,
sounds
that's-
crazy, but makes sense. That's a huge liability for the company. If you've got somebody
absolutely.
that's
No,
potential-
I
is-
agree. The company should let her go, especially if she gave information out and actually followed through on the scam.
Oh, yeah.
My mind is blown that she would do that. Like once, yeah, okay, you don't know, but now you know. But 3 times? Like, dude, at that
Katie,
point, she
One day she was just gone, and I was told from a friend of mine that, oh yeah, she continually failed those phishing.
must not have
scam
been a
attacks.
millennial
Ka-
because millennials are pros.
She was
at
anything but a millennial. I can
yeah,
promise you that.
yeah, millennials are pros at ignoring things.
Katie, did they send it to your company email address or to your
Yeah.
Oh,
Gmail?
yeah, it's addressed to you usually. It's like a
It's company.
targeted phishing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
The
don't
name of
even
the company,
know.
No Before, is the company that does it. No B and then the number 4 is the company that does that.
I don't even know where the report button is on Outlook. That's how much that
It's in there.
I just delete stuff. Like I'd either delete it or ignore it. I never I don't engage.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you in the fail. It just makes you in the didn't report side.
No, I
You
know.
are
That's why.
definitely not a risk. But
No,
yeah,
but it was funny that I failed. Like, I didn't even know we were being tested for this. Like,
of course.
it was just
Well,
so
that's
funny
the
that
whole trick. Yeah.
I thought the email that I failed the phishing was a scam. So
Yeah.
because again,
Did
I
you
got
report
that.
that?
No, I didn't. I joked about it. I joked about it in like a morning meeting or whatever. And I was like, hey, these fishers are getting like hardcore. And my manager was like, actually, that's a training program. And I was like, oh, well, GG.
Let me ask you this: how many phishing phishing emails like that do you get to your business, to your company account?
So right now
Roughly.
at my current job, I get probably 3 or 4 a day.
I think you should report them all.
Yeah.
Every time you get one to that account, report it. And if everybody did that, I want to see what the company would do.
Yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
testing happens quarterly
Never mind the testing. They
Yeah.
want you to
to report
report
actual. Yeah.
anything. So you need to report anyone said this was phishing. This is phishing. This
No,
is
that's too much effort on my part to click a button.
Oh,
And I
you-
know
oh,
I
poor
know
thing.
I know you're gonna roll your eyes, but I literally spend 2 seconds, open my email, see if I got any emails from my coworkers, and my eye is trained to like look for like my coworker emails. And then if it's nothing, because we mostly talk through Slack, and then I just ignore everything. I mean, I've been at this new job for like a year and a half, almost 2 years, I guess. And already my inventory is at like 5,000 emails, and I would say 2/3 of it are not coworker related or like work related.
Right. So it'll take you just as long to click report.
Nah, I just ignore it.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial. That's what we do.
That's what they do. Okay. Anything else, guys?
Got it. Just a quick update on the Tele TV.
Yeah.
I finally got it moved to being my main television. I was upstairs for a long time and just didn't have any furniture I could put it on. So
Mhm.
got something, and now it's a full-time TV, and it's working out good so far. Although I have a weird issue how the television will occasionally turn itself on. You get up in the morning and it's on. So I think, yeah, well, I've read a lot about it. There's a lot of good stuff on Reddit. There's a whole community on Reddit just
Okay.
for this. But it's got to do with the CEC feature
Oh yeah.
for
That makes
HDMI,
sense.
that there's something happening because I had it upstairs. All I had hooked up to it was a Fire Stick. Downstairs, I hooked up a Fire Stick, a DVD player, and a Chromecast. Something is making it start. Something, and I'm going to go in and disable CEC. I don't really need it. The tele remote now is a universal remote. So whatever if I'm watching Fire Stick, the tele remote will let me control it, which is good.
Okay.
So yeah, so far so good.
So the
I
only
did-
thing you can do is put a timer on it that will turn it off at
Yeah.
1:00 in the morning or
Yeah,
whenever
put
you
a
normally.
smart plug on it, turn the power off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if it happened twice. So I'm gonna.
Okay. Never mind.
It happened. I'm gonna see what happens, but I'll
Yeah.
experiment with it. There were some other suggestions about don't have it plugged into a
Don't
surge
mention those
protector.
suggestions, please.
Say
Don't mention.
don't sing in the room because it listens and goes on. So
Don't talk about it. Don't mention its name.
that's right.
Like
It's like the
Fight
dog,
Club.
right? Don't
That-
tell him we're going. Don't never say vet near the door.
That's
right?
right.
It's like
Alan is asking in the chat, but do you guys get unpaid tolls messages?
Oh yeah,
No.
that was a big scam. Don't click on that. That's not real.
Katie's the expert, so
Yeah, because I got a text message and I was like, tolls? I haven't been on any tolls, and I did
tolls. I'm not
I-
paying to use a road. What the hell is this? Thought this was
Yeah, and I was
America.
like, because it's the government stuff. They never text me. They send me bills in the mail. And then that day I was listening to the radio, and there was a news update, and they're like, latest scam is these toll things. Do not engage.
I've never seen one. So
Yeah, I do. I will say that I do report my phone messages because I noticed if I report the phone one, it will immediately block whoever's sending me stuff.
That is true.
Good. Okay. Anything else? Wow. 10:25. Yeesh.
Wow.
All right, guys.
See ya.
So, thanks, Katie.
Yeet.
Thanks, Gal. Thanks, Nick. Thank you, Spence. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And change any same passwords wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 5 to 6 a.m., Nick hosts the Carolina Journal News Hour on WBT in Charlotte, North Carolina, 11:10 a.m. and 99.3 FM. And it's also on YouTube. And then from 7 till 8 in the morning, Monday through Friday, Nick hosts the Nick Craig Show on you go to nickcraig.com and get the information there. You can always go and download the files and listen to them or watch them later. And Nick and Brian host the Infection podcast. That's for survival games and gaming news, political stuff on Twitch. Just go to infectionpodcast.com and find out when is the show going to happen, the live show on this week, on that week. That's it for today. Have a great week, and we'll be back together next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.